All right, so we're going to talk about Caitlin Clark here in a broader sense, really more about women's sports and this tremendous surge of popularity in the game. And since the window through which we get into it centers around Caitlin Clark, here's Lauren Jackson, one of the best women's basketball players ever, and her opinion of Caitlin Clark as a player.
Speaking of the WNBA, who are you enjoying watching right now?
Who is everyone enjoying watching? Caitlin Clark. I love her intensity. I love that. Obviously, she's a young player and still has so much, development ahead of her. But I think her smarts, the way she reads the game, the way she passes the ball, the way she shoots the ball, she can get to the basket, change her pace, And I feel like she probably has the pressure of the world on her shoulders, and she's still able to get out there and perform unafraid, no fear. Just what an athlete. I am just so impressed with her, and how awesome. So I'm a fan. Man, I would have loved to have played with her, as a point guard with that much vision and awareness. I've just never seen anything like it.
All right, that's Lauren Jackson. She knows about basketball. She's one of the best women's players of all time. Christine Brennan, one of the best columnists of our time. She joins us on the Adam Gold Show. The book is called On Her Game, Caitlin Clark and the Revolution in Women's Sports. I did not realize when I texted you yesterday that the book does not come out until July 8th. So I promise a return visit when people can physically go buy it.
Well, thank you, and I'll kick back that couple pennies that I get per book. Thank you, but people can order it now. It's available, on all the pre-orders. I've really never pre-ordered a book, maybe once, but people do it, and you can do it, or your bookstore, your local. What's the best independent, those great independent bookstores? I'm sure there are many in North Carolina.
Yeah, we do. We have a few of those. So I will.
You can call
Ridgewood?
there, order it there.
Yeah.
But happy to. It's a couple of weeks now, and it's I'm hard to believe it's coming quickly. But thanks for the mention, and I'm really proud of the book and the reporting, breaking news, lots of new stuff that people who think they know Caitlin Clark, all the WNBA, all the things that happen. I cover it all, a journalistic look at really one of the most famous people in the country, not just sports, but truly one of our culture's most famous and beloved people right now.
I want to get into women's sports as a whole and a broader issue in a second, but let's just start with her first year in the WNBA, which was not smooth. I know you covered extensively, as you called it, a snub, and I went back and reread the column, which I think you posted on Twitter not that long ago at C. Brennan Sports, because you say you have new reporting in the book that surrounds that. But I'm just curious, what kind of pushback did you receive from your reporting on Caitlin Clark throughout the season? Because I'm pretty sure you did get some, as they say overseas, some stick from some players in the league as to your line of questioning or whatnot. So what was it like reporting on this?
Well, I have covered the WNBA and women's sports, obviously, for my entire career. WNBA, since the inception of it, I covered the team at the 1996 Olympics in Atlanta, and then the WNBA started the next year, and I was doing lifetime TV reporting on the sideline, Adam, in '99, and have constantly talked to editors about we've got to do more coverage and what have you. So I care very, very much about it. Never have we seen the interest or sports editors even saying, hey, we're seeing the needle move with this person, obviously from Iowa. I hadn't covered the women's Final Fours in a while, so I didn't know her. I didn't cover her in Iowa. But I started to see this, and I thought, I don't know that I've ever seen a barnstorming athlete traveling around the country, selling out 20,000-seat arenas around the country, people in line in January and February in the cold for hours to watch one person, and this person, Adam, is a woman. I truly did not think I would see that in my lifetime. Tennis, yes, but a team sport, never. Never. It's just one person. And I quickly realized she's a basketball player. I go into this in depth in the book. Basketball player, yes, but she is even more importantly an entertainer. It's
Yeah.
the logo threes. It's the three. She's chucking it from the parking lot, and it's going in. And that is like Tiger Woods, covering him the length of his career. So to answer your question, I then start to dive into this. A few columns for USA Today. The Olympic swimming trials happen to be in Indianapolis. My editor says, hey, can you go over and cover a couple of those fever games during that 10 days that I was in Indy for the Olympic swimming trials? Because obviously any sports editor would rather have the clicks of Caitlin Clark, which are enormous,
Yep.
than even the best swimmers. And that, you know how much I love covering swimming. So anyway, whatever. I started doing that, and I started thinking there might be a book in this. I haven't written a book in a while. Scribner, my publisher, Simon & Schuster, immediately wanted it. No book proposal, no agent, just do it.
Really?
Never
Nice.
seen that before, ever, and that's this book. And then I start reporting it, and yes, people got very angry that I was asking questions about Caitlin Clark. That's it. That's a little revealing. Does anyone get angry on the golf tour, which as you know, we've talked about. I've covered Tiger the length of his career. No one ever got mad about answering a question about Tiger. Never. And so I think it was the WNBA was just not prepared for the national scrutiny that it was going to get. I'm not a local beat writer. Obviously, I do what I do on TV and in USA Today. And these are questions that I would have asked any male reporter. It was, of course, Dejanay Carrington and the issue of her fingers hitting Caitlin in the eye. Questions I would ask any male sports, athlete. Are we saying we can't ask women questions we would ask men in 2024?
Right.
I think that's not where we want to be. Anyway, they wanted to ban me, the Players Union. That failed miserably because this is still the United States of America, I think, and and people still can get credentials and there's freedom of speech. And so, but I do deal with that a lot. How the WNBA was so utterly unprepared for the greatest thing that's ever happened to it, and we understand why. In many ways, I deal with all this. No holds barred. 74% black league, understandably ignored, and we understand how the concern about how they were ignored for so long, and now a white woman from Iowa comes in, and that's the attention. We can understand those issues. I deal with all of them, and it's not my voice. I have the great Dr. Harry Edwards. I have Brianna Scurry. I have other terrific voices, white and black, talking about these very important issues.
Christine Brennan is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. So many ways I can go just off of that. And I remember at her introductory press conference with the fever, a guy I became friends with because he used to work here, Greg Doyle, asked a question of her in a manner that he would never ask a male athlete. And while I understand where his heart was, he was trying to make an emotional connection when he made the heart symbol that she makes all the time. And it was a poor attempt at kind of fast forwarding, a relationship that just has to be organic. Otherwise it's never going to be real. But he would never do that with a male athlete, right? He wasn't treating her like an athlete, like a star athlete that she was. He was treating her like a little girl. And these women deserve to be treated like real athletes. And I don't know that they have been really at any point, which maybe is why, the way your line of questioning was so surprising to them.
Well, that, and also I think they just were not prepared at all by their league leadership to be able to handle, to know what was coming. And Harry Edwards, again, the great, of course, wonderful voice of reason and a civil rights leader. He was the impetus behind the 1968 Black Power salute in Mexico City.
Yep.
So I've known Harry a long time, and he loves Caitlin Clark, and he says you've got to be prepared for that. So I think with Greg Doyle, and I deal with that in the book as well. I cover everything. Greg Doyle is now back covering her this year, but he was banned for a year. He's lucky he wasn't fired.
I agree.
Because he said, do that heart thing to me, and we'll get along just fine. And then he also said to the head coach, Christy Sides, how does it feel to have the keys to that? It was just grotesque what he did, and cringeworthy doesn't even begin to do it. It was really troublesome throughout USA Today and throughout the Fever, and understandably so. As I said, he's lucky to have his job. I would expect if I did that to a male 22-year-old, I would not have my job anymore, and I would never do it for that reason. So that's just not how you treat people. I do think the nation's ready for her. I mean, we're almost at the 53rd anniversary, Adam, as you know, of Title IX,
Yep.
June 23rd, 1972, the 53rd anniversary, and of this incredible law. So everyone in their lives has a Caitlin Clark. The girl in the kitchen you see every morning, changing jerseys in the back seat of the car to get between soccer and lacrosse or volleyball and basketball or whatever, softball and track and field. The girl across the street you look at through your window and wave in the driveway, your niece, your daughter, whatever it is, granddaughter. And so that is why the TV ratings are there. I mean, extraordinary. That is why this is my favorite stat. The Indiana Fever last year, that first rookie year for Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever, their average home attendance was higher than the average home attendance of 5 NBA teams.
Yep.
It's in the book. It's a fact. Can you believe I just said that sentence?
It really is incredible.
The nation, yeah. And Indiana, I mean, again, those are sold out. And when you watch those 40 seconds, and if people haven't, it's all over, social media, the 40 seconds with those 3 threes, that's the most entertaining 40 seconds in the history of the WNBA.
Well, she's a freak show. She plays and reminds me a little bit of Pete Maravich because she does play with a flair for the game that is I'm not going to say it's uncommon because I was there at Cameron Indoor Stadium when Connecticut #1, or maybe they were #2, played Duke #1. And Diana Taurasi played in that game, and I've never seen anything like that. She's the greatest women's player I've ever seen, and I include Caitlin Clark in that. I thought Taurasi was, game-changing. I don't know why it didn't hit. Maybe America wasn't ready for women's basketball. I have no idea. But at that point, I went, oh, my gosh, I cannot believe what I just watched. But I think that she's an incredible, incredible player. And you see what here, I'll just use this as an example. I started watching WNBA basketball last year more because of her. And I discovered Asia Wilson as a result of watching Caitlin Clark. And there's other great players too, but Asia Wilson to me, like, holy cow, why haven't more people been onto this over the last several years? Because she's not like she's a rookie. And that's really what you were getting at with the Olympics, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And by the way, Diana Taurasi, yes, but not chucking it from the parking lot. It is the logo threes.
She didn't have that.
It is the logo threes. This is what's bringing everyone. And Curtis Strange, obviously, the great golfer, North Carolina roots, of course. He's the one I quote in the book. It's a chapter title, "You Can't Take Your Eyes Off Her." He said, don't run to the restroom when she's bringing the ball up the court. You're going to miss something. It's extraordinary, the people that have been caught up in this, because it is just what we've been waiting for as a nation. Taurasi's personality, dreadful. The way she treated Caitlin Clark, awful. I've got all that in the book as well. So Caitlin Clark doing every autograph, doing the interviews, 2-3-minute answers, looks you in the eye. Taurasi was much more acerbic and abrasive. And again, so there's just no comparison, frankly. I mean, they needed Caitlin Clark. They were promoting, the Phoenix Mercury were promoting Caitlin Clark last year on social media to help Diana Taurasi sell out her own building, in Diana Taurasi's building, in arena in Phoenix. It's that Taurasi's not even close. And that I know bothers Connecticut people. Don't get me wrong. She's a great player.
Yeah.
She's not even in the same realm as Caitlin Clark in terms of entertaining. And when I think a lot of purists hasn't registered yet. And I understand that. My God, Maya Moore, one of the greats of all time, maybe the greatest of all time. She should have had this. But again, she's not chucking it from the parking lot. And that's what brings eyeballs away. Tiger brought eyeballs. But yes, absolutely. The Olympic decision looks worse and worse every second. It was the lowest, and this is in the book, the lowest TV rating since 2008. It was an absolute disastrous decision, and they almost lost the gold medal. And, of course, Taurasi didn't even play.
Right.
You're not forgiving a 42-year-old a going away present, just giving away a spot on the Olympic team, are you, Adam?
No. Well, you and I actually disagreed about that, but I didn't think that Taurasi wouldn't play, right? How much of that, because I want to get to a couple of other things before I have to let you go. How much of that was Cheryl Reeve, who was acerbic all last season about Caitlin Clark? How much of that was her, and how much of that was USA Basketball?
I think it was both. I mean, officially, Cheryl Reeve was not on the selection committee, but she's the coach of the team, right? So we weren't born yesterday, you and I. Also, just stunningly bad behavior by Cheryl Reeve, tweeting at and about Caitlin Clark, kind of blaming her for not having her games on Minnesota Lynx on TV, but only Caitlin games on TV. That's the gist of it. Again, I have all this detailed in the book, and I reported it at the time. How on earth is that okay with the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Committee and USA Basketball that its coach is actively tweeting and going on social media about someone who is in the selection pool? I mean, that alone should have been immediately nipped in the bud. Never was by the leadership of those organizations. So I think there's it's a very interesting world. It's a sad thing for me to see that there would be people who would be, after all these years of waiting for this kind of moment, this is it. Take it and run with it. Rising tide lifts all boats, just like Tiger Woods. Now, granted, in golf, Tiger did not have social media in 96, 97, 98, 99. So we don't know how bad the racism would have been and other things against him.
Oh, gosh.
It would have been terrible. So It's a different world with social media. But why on earth the WNBA and basketball? You just see, if anyone hasn't seen her answer the other day to the Hong Kong reporter, it's all over Twitter, social media, wherever you go, just Google it, look for it, where a man from Hong Kong says, I'm here, and she stops, oh my goodness, I can't wait to go to Hong Kong someday. Tell them hello. I'm sorry I didn't meet all of them. I mean, there's no athlete who even remotely acts like this. I mean, and she's 23 years old, 23 going on 40 or 50. I mean, the way she handles questions, think of the international appeal of Caitlin Clark. She would have been a one-woman dream team. And that is what USA Basketball left home. And it's not just me. The Washington Post calls it one of the worst decisions of the year, and there's no doubt about it. Horrible decision on every level. And because Will Bond, my buddy, college classmate, was saying, well, you just can't pick her because of bringing eyeballs. Well, women's sports kind of needs eyeballs. But her statistics at that moment, the decision, were better than Taurasi's and several of the other players who were selected. So statistics alone, because she had like 2 or 3 bad games, but you had a lot of negative media coverage, making it sound that she was playing worse than she was in those first few games, which is also something I go into in the book.
Christine Brennan, author of On Her Game, Caitlin Clark and the Revolution in Women's Sports. All right, final thing, because I did want to bring it into the women's sports realm. You see women's golf, women's tennis exploding. Women's soccer continues to get bigger and better. The NWSL is expanding. There's a rival top-level women's sports, women's soccer league. We're starting to see softball. And at the NCAA level, it's a huge ratings winner. Now there's going to be more of a professional presence. Volleyball doing the same way. How important is Caitlin Clark to all of that?
Oh, she brings everyone in. Like literally, she goes to the indoor volleyball team in Indianapolis, and of course the cameras are on her and the big screen, and she's doing pictures with the team, and people want to be around it because she's there. I'm a little surprised that they haven't. She did have part of the ownership group of a Cincinnati franchise. The NWSL went with Denver. But to me, if I'm a league, I get Caitlin Clark involved in a ownership, part ownership, some kind of thing, any women's sports thing. You've got a magnet here, that attention magnet, the likes of which we have never seen in women's sports. I would even include Serena, Venus, different category, women's tennis, obviously, because of Billie Jean King and the equal prize money in '73. Women's tennis has always been off the charts. The LPGA, sadly, has not had equal prize money, and you see the result. It's good, but it doesn't have anywhere near the attention. Also, the golf world, what we saw it would look like Tiger-esque galleries around a Pro-Am when
Yes.
Caitlin Clark showed up. Well, we'll see a lot more of that because the golf world understands her appeal and wants to be a part of it. Every sport, and I will give you this one. She showed up for a few minutes to the Olympic swimming trials in Indy, as I referred to. She went over one evening with her teammates. They introduced them all. Largest cheer by far was, of course, for Caitlin Clark. The one little video of her running towards the water, no one was in it yet. It was early on, no swimmers, putting her finger in the water, pretending to jump in, putting her finger in the water, and then touching one of her teammates with her wet index finger, got more views. That was a USA Swimming post on its social media, had more views than any post they put out in 10 days on any swimmer other than their final one, which was the announcing of the Olympic team, which had many, many more views.
Right.
So a basketball player, happens to be Caitlin Clark, pretending to jump in and putting her finger in the water got more views than anything Katie Ledecky, Caleb Dressel, Michael Phelps, anything. That's how big a deal this woman is. And yes, every sport would love to be able to have her involved in some way or other. But it's a sign of where we are as a nation that we are now seeing this and loving it. And people now, tomorrow night she plays, there's no doubt that there's a guy who never would have given the time of day to women's sports, putting on his 22 jersey and walking out of the house with pride. Stunning, absolutely stunning. We never would have seen that 10 years ago. And also planning his evening around watching tomorrow night's Indiana Fever Connecticut game. And that is just a shocking thing to me and a wonderful thing to see.
At C. Brennan Sports on Twitter, on her game, Caitlin Clark and the revolution in women's sports. When it comes out, we'll talk again. So I'll text you in a little bit. I appreciate your time, Christine. Thank you so much. We'll talk again very soon.
Absolutely, Adam. Take care. Thank you.
You got it.